All right, let's see here. Get up on screen and get it going. See if you guys can hear me if everything's working right. So we'll start here. All right, here comes. There I am. All right. Let's see if you guys can 5x5s hear me. That's the biggest deal right here. Because all right, Harbor Prepper says 5x5, Undercover says 5x5, Healthy Disrespect. Scott McHugh, getting a few of them. What I want to know more than anything else is that you guys can hear me well, because I've got the new computer that I was telling you about last week, and so I got microphone hooked up to this thing. So hopefully we have a little bit better sound than we did last week. But a bunch of you guys are saying 5x5, so that sounds good. All right. All right, loud and clear. There you go, Michigan lifestyle. Michigan. Hope you're not in Southwest Detroit. So, hey, Mountaintop Preps. Haven't talked to you guys in a couple of weeks. So, yes, I am probably about 95% recovered. Mrs. P is still about 5 days behind me. Uh, the cough is finally gone. I can actually sleep through the night. That's a good thing. 2.5 weeks at this point with this stupid flu, but I'm still energy wise weak, but there ain't anything I can do. I mean, it's what is it? 2/3 of the country is supposed to be under a deep freeze here. I think we're supposed to be a high of 21 tomorrow or Thursday. We're supposed to get 2 inches of snow tomorrow. I mean, by this point of winter where I am, we should be high 40s, low 50s. I mean, by this time last year, I already had my gardens tilled. By this time, I already had my cabbage in the ground. This year, I haven't even got it planted yet. Seed starts. Uh, I mean, I've had my ram pump ready to go for over a month, and I can't put it in because it'll just in the you get that done. It's just global warming my ass. That's all I'm going to say. So, did you guys catch the deal in Southwest Detroit today? They had a water main break, and it flooded streets to the point of a foot and a half deep, and it was like 10 degrees out, and so everything froze. So everybody's cars are now not only flooded but frozen flooded. So until it thaws out, because there's not a real way you can really go thaw out outside, they got to wait for Mother Nature to thaw out the streets so people can get to their cars. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, I guess we're having cold weather everywhere. I guess it's already hit like Kansas, Texas. There you go. Who's Your Daddy sings 7 degrees in southern Missouri. Uh, okay, it's still winter. I get it. But, spring is 4 weeks away. So I'm ready for it. That's all I know. I mean, it's hilarious because we had a week or so of 60-degree temperatures. And so all Mrs. P's tulips have come up. Her crocuses have, broke ground at least. Daffodils and stuff like that. They're all going to freeze. So much for all that. We'll see how many of them survive. But yeah, that was it. But yeah, it's going to be a way behind year for gardening for me, probably for a lot of other people down south too, because we can't do anything outside. So, all right. So that was the fun part going on there. Uh, watching all the fun with the screaming and yelling about Trump's cabinet picks. Kash Patel cleared another hurdle today. I guess they're going to go to a full Senate vote on Thursday, is what it's hearing now. But of course, everybody's screaming, Elon Musk is going to steal my credit card number. He's right. Yeah. Okay. Idiots. Like, the richest man in the world really gives a crap about your $700 credit limit on your card. Uh, but it's hilarious listening to the media making up, like I said this morning, making up lies about Social Security. The plane crash that we had in Toronto yesterday, NBC was out blaming that on Trump. It's like, last time I checked, Toronto's in Canada, and all jokes aside, Canada's still not the 51st state. Okay. So, yeah, no, it wouldn't have anything to do with us, even though the plane left Minnesota. It's still a Canadian issue. It's just, uh, they are so desperate that they're not even hiding the lies. I mean, they're trying to find people stupid enough to believe them. I mean, Jim Acosta comes out today, and all the mainstream media needs to band together and boycott the White House. I'm thinking to myself, what does it matter? Nobody wants you there anyway. All you do is try to cause problems. Hey, you want to leave? Leave. Okay. There's plenty of people from, I don't know, Newsmax or Breitbart or, you know, pick some other media, the New York Post, that would happily take your seat, just because you work for some legacy media. Excuse me. Legacy media company, don't think that you have a right to be there. It's, you know, the press is supposed to be the fourth branch of government, supposed to keep the government in check, but they failed at that drastically. And just because you belong to CNN doesn't mean you're the only person that's in the press. It's stupid. So I don't know. Kind of fun watching all of that. All right. Well, let's get into some Q&A here. We're going to be able to actually do the full uh 1 hour tonight. I see somebody saying commercials keep coming through. Don't tell me they're starting that crap again. Uh but we'll I'm in good enough shape to do the full hour, so we'll be fine. Uh you're gonna have to maybe sneeze here or something like that every once in a while. Deal with it. So as for normal, if you got questions for me, please put them in all caps. Uh I wholeheartedly encourage everybody to communicate in the chat rooms amongst yourselves, because I can't get to all the questions and I don't have all the answers. You guys know that. So the whole idea to being here is that we can all share information, questions that we have, camaraderie, fellowship, whatever it would be. The only requirement, as you guys all well know, unless you're new here, is be on your best behavior. Disagreement is totally fine. Different opinion is totally fine. Being an asshole is not totally fine. You want to be rude, just leave. Okay. Because you make a nasty comment, you don't want to make yourself leave, we'll do it for you. And the mods are real good at that. So I thank them very much for the time, effort, and reading everything that they put in. So y'all know how crazy it is. Somebody was saying that they hate slow mode. They feel like they're in timeout. I get it. Okay. But imagine being a moderator reading as fast as this thing goes as is. Imagine if we didn't have it in there. It's one way to keep the riffraff out. So all right. Let me get to the top and we'll see. Okay, well, see what's on y'all's mind, and we'll go through here. Okay. Is it snowing yet? No, it's not supposed to start snowing here till about 3 in the morning. We're supposed to get it from like 3 in the morning till like 10 in the morning or something like that. So make believe. What do I think about the issue with AOC educating illegals about their rights? Okay. This is, if you want to talk about a constitutional crisis, this is where you get it. What rights does somebody have here who is illegal? I mean, obviously, they don't have the right to vote, but what other constitutional rights are they given? And so when AOC is talking about their rights, we don't even know concrete if they have any. If the way it's written that The Constitution applies to anybody whose feet's on the soil because, I mean, if you're here, you have rights. Well, you're not a US citizen, you can't buy a gun. That's a Second Amendment right. So, what rights do they have, right? We can think of many that they don't. So, no, you don't have a right to be in the United States illegally. That's why it's called illegally. And so you get all these people like AOC or Katie Hobbs or JB Pritzker or Kathy Hochul, whatever, saying that, "Their Border Patrol's not coming in here, or ICE isn't coming in here." You can't stop them legally. If you do, then you are aiding and abetting what's feasibly a felony. So her educating illegals is actually going to cause them more trouble than if they just, "Oh, you caught me, I'm out of here," or something. And the interesting part I wanna see, and I think this is gonna take until we get Kash Patel, uh, confirmed, but I wanna see Pam Bondi do something along the lines. I wanna see perp walks. I wanna see them walk onto the floor of the House of Representatives and put AOC in handcuffs for doing this, or into the governor's mansion in Arizona or Illinois and put Pritzker or Katie Hobbs in handcuffs and say, "You're under arrest. This is a federal charge. You're going to jail." And sure, they'll get bailed out, but hey, how many days did Trump spend in the last 4 years in court? Guess what, guys? He didn't violate any laws. You did. So I'd like to see that start. We're seeing all those stuff about all the corruption and the criminality and everything. I want to start in handcuffs and perp walks. That's literally where I want to see the arrests made. And that needs to get started, because until then, the American public still should have no faith in government, because just because you put an end to something doesn't mean that all these people should get off scot-free. And I don't know if you saw yesterday, 83 or 93, something like that, of the pardons that Biden made were overruled in court, because he did not have the authority to issue blanket pardons for crimes that have not been charged. So that one's still kind of playing through, but those pardons got taken off the table. And then, as we talked about, oh God, a few weeks ago, with the Tony Fauci pardon, as I said at the time, it's great. It's a federal pardon, doesn't prohibit the states. And Idaho came out a couple of days ago and said they're going after Tony Fauci. So we'll see what happens. So it's the criminality, the criminal charges are what I want to see coming down now. But yeah, I think AOC is going to do that. But I'd like to see Ilhan Omar's citizenship be revoked and have her deported. Amanda Wilkerson, thank you. So glad I'm feeling better. Me too. It sucks. I don't get sick that often. But when I do, man, it just kicks me in the cojones. Let's see. Yeah, and I'm one of those typical guys where I don't do shit. I mean, I still give women all the credit in the world. Women are like, give me 2 Dayquil. I'll still go take care of cooking and doing whatever. And the guys are like, duh, we're just dead. So, Whistling Dick, celebrating your 360th birthday today. Congratulations. I hope you're still getting your Social Security checks. God, crazy stuff. Buzzard, how's the pond doing? Well, it got a lot of water here. It's not full. I mean, the best I've got is a 4-inch pipe that's coming off the hill to fill it. And I mean, the amount of rain that we got, I can't catch. I mean, I could easily have, if I had a 12-inch pipe, I could have done a lot better. But I mean, come on, I don't have a sewer system in my backyard. But that helped. There's actually water all the way around the island. but I got to get that pump started. Uh, but it can't be freezing out because otherwise I'll just bust everything up. So, Vicky Savage, ain't geoengineering fun? Yeah, it's like global warming. So, yeah, Catwoman, the groundhog was right. Go figure. Yes, it's more weeks of winter. Well, we're certainly getting it. All right. Okie Forge says 7 degrees here in southwest Oklahoma. Won't go above freezing until Friday. I didn't even look this. I mean, I didn't look to see when we're going to go above freezing. I just looked to see how cold it's going to be because, I give about as much credibility to the Weather Channel predicting stuff as I do to Jim Cramer picking, stocks. Because, I mean, you look at the Weather Channel and they'll tell you it's sunny as I look outside and it's pouring rain. But at least I can get an idea of within 10 degrees what the temperature is. So James Trump 24 Price. I haven't lived in Tennessee long enough. I've seen snow in May. Okay. Now I haven't seen snow in May in Tennessee. I do remember seeing snow in June in Illinois, long time ago. But yeah, I remember that one. That was kind of interesting. I can say I remember snow sticking to the ground when we lived in Vegas. We went outside, we got up one morning, we had an inch of snow in our backyard. Uh, so we all can get it. Dawn Hill, pinball, we've gotten 190 inches of snow here in northwest northern Michigan. That's almost 16 feet so far. And now you know why I moved from up north. And I said, I'm done with this. It was last place that was regular amount of snow was Salt Lake City. And I'm just like, Mrs. P and I are like, we're done. Get us out of this. So Von Berger, I saw this too. That just caught this one. And we may be getting $5,000 for each taxpayer. I have not seen anything official on this, but there have been all sorts of rumors running around social media today that Trump and Musk are talking about a tax refund to the American people for these trillions of dollars that are being found by Doge. And okay, that's great. I'll give you that. It's going to drive inflation up again. That's the problem. Okay. You dump all that money into the economy, it's going to cause inflation. I'd rather see them pay down the debt. But I mean, okay, if you found $3 trillion, that's almost 10% of the debt. Again, I'll say the same thing for the US government that I say for each and every one of us. Get your ass out of debt. Giving us a whole bunch of money, sure, it may make us feel good for a couple of months or whatever, but it's going to drive the price up again on everything. That's my opinion, not the right thing to do. But I know there's a lot of people who go, free money, yay. So it is what it is. I'm trying to think of big picture. Prep Rebel, the crash in Toronto is all due to poor Canadian air traffic control. Well, if you guys saw the video of it today, we actually got video out of the plane coming in, literally crashing, breaking a wing off and rolling. I'm not a pilot or anything, but you always see when a plane comes down, it's coming and they lift the nose up, touch the rear landing gear. And you saw this guy, he never did. He just bellied that plane and came in so hard. Now, I don't know. They said the winds were at 40 knots and he was trying to come in a crosswind. That obviously had something to do with it. But it, it, from my amateur view, this has got to be pilot error on this one. All right. Reagan Dog, when will Trump stop chemtrails? Planes are working overtime here. Well, okay. I'll say this, it depends on what's being done and by whom. It could be that he has no control over it. This could all be the state doing something. So, if you've got questions like that, I would start with my state represent representative or my state senator. What's going on with all these things? Great, now I get the hiccups. Uh, so, yeah, I mean, you guys got to remember, there's a lot of these things are state laws or state authority, not federal. It's like listening to all these people go, Trump's got to stop property tax. Property tax, it's not fair, everything like that. And I'll agree, property tax sucks. But as my answer's always been, how are you going to pay for the police department, traffic signals, all that sort of stuff? But the federal government has no control whatsoever over property tax. Property tax is done on a local level. I mean, it's not even necessarily the state, it's by county. And, you know, the federal government has no say in the matter whatsoever. Trump can say, I don't want taxes done, property tax done anywhere in the country, but he has no ability to do anything because the state's going separation of powers. Sorry, that's a state thing, that's a local thing. The property tax stuff is what you take up on the local level with your county and then with your state. You know, but so we've got to remember this. It's Trump is not on contrary to what the Democrats want to say. He's not a king. He's not a dictator. He's not all powerful, and that's a good thing because can you imagine if they were and Joe Biden, we'd have survived. We wouldn't have survived Joe Biden. Yeah, which came out today. There was speaking of Biden, the courts have finally ruled that uh, all of Biden's student loan payoff bullshit ain't happening. And they put in there too that future presidents can't do anything with it either. So that was a good thing. Hutz John, look who owns the media outlets. Now you know why they say all the stupid shit they say. Well, yeah, I mean, and this is the problem is, like George Soros bought a whole boatload of radio stations, and you've got the left wingers that, I mean, what was it? Disney came out today and said they're going to lose $100 million on the Snow White deal. Okay. Because Puerto Rican woman, that's really Snow White to me. But you've got all these leftist companies. Disney, maybe they still do, maybe they don't. I mean, at one point owned ABC and ESPN and all this sort of stuff. It's just leftist dribble, and there aren't any real right wing. I mean, network wise, there's nothing balanced. There's nothing conservative. Fox is about middle of the road. And, this came out today that Rupert Murdoch is not going to be able, because I think he's 96, is not going to be able to change his trust on how the kids get it. 3 of his 4 kids are liberals, and they'll all have an equal vote on the board. So you can bet when he dies, Fox turns into another CNN. So, I mean, not that there's anybody left on Fox worth watching anymore anyway. Unless you want to listen to Sean Hannity pat back for an hour. But yeah, I mean, the media is dying. You think the newspapers died what 20 years? The mainstream media, the network media, is dying the same death the newspapers did because nobody trusts them. It's editorial page nonstop. I don't want to hear the editorial. I don't remember who somebody's tagline used to be, "We report, you decide." That's gone. Fox used to be fair and balanced. That's gone. I mean, come on, don't give me. I mean, Shepard Smith's been gone for a couple of years. Yeah, who's lit? Neil Cavuto's finally gone. I mean, Brett Baer is about tipped over to the left. Forget it. So All right. North Alabama hiking. Hello, Pinball. Our town had a good scare Saturday night. Spin up tornado hit downtown and another far away. No injuries, thankfully. Prepping pays off, y'all. Yeah, uh, it does. And, again, you look at, like I just said earlier, about what's going on in Detroit. You don't have a car for, at least a few days. So that's done. Uh, I'll give you another one. You're talking about prepping paying off. Uh, Pay attention to these tariffs that are going on China. Okay. Uh, because anything that you get in China at the end of the month, when the tariffs take effect, expect the prices to go up 20 to 30%. Like computers, like solar panels, like solar generators, like practically anything that's electronic, you're going to see all of a sudden these prices go up. If you're looking at getting something, I get it now, even if you can't pay it off till next month or something, because come next month, instead of it being $1,000, it's going to be $1,200, just because the tariffs are going to get passed down to us anyway. Harbor Prepper, thank you for the super chat. Says the legacy media have devolved from being the fourth estate to the fifth column. Yeah, there's a good way of putting it. Whoops, shot to the bottom. Hang on, gotta go find where I was. I'll try to. That's as far as I can go. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm in the right spot. Blackjack 22 says the video I saw showed a hard landing which folded the main landing gear, which folded the wing on one side. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I was saying. He didn't bring the nose up to ease it down on the ass end of it. He just came down, which folded the landing gear, which then, of course, tipped everything down. It just kind of shifted. It could have shifted right or left. It shifted to the right, busted that wing off, and that's the way it went up rolling. Yeah, it was just a bad. It's just that pilot error is what I see. Healthy disrespect. It sounds to me like your mic might be motion sensitive and reacting to your table slightly moving when you do. Have you tried putting a sponge cushion on? Actually, my microphone is sitting right here. So just a wireless that's attached to my shirt, or in this case, my hoodie, and wireless into the computer here. So just changing things, trying to make it better. So because the microphone on this computer wasn't as good as the microphone on the other computer, so that's why I'm using the alternate one. Dave Moran, did I hear about New York corrections going on strike and Hochul threatening the National Guard? No, I didn't hear anything about that. So what are they gonna, the prison guards are going to be like, we're not going to work? Okay. I mean, Kathy Hochul threatening the National Guard. That woman is dumb as a box of rocks. It's like, the funny part is, the majority of New York State is, well, you think of the majority of a lot of states is red. It's New York City's the one that spoils it for the rest of the state. It's just idiotic, the people that they elect. I mean, you had all these people just a week or so ago raising hell about AOC, and I don't even remember what it was, but she goes up for re-election, gets 84% of the vote or whatever it is. It's like, oh, we hate you, but we're going to vote for you anyway. It's because you aren't smart enough to go, let me look and see what they stand for. I mean, please, somebody tell me what AOC has done in her time in Congress. What bill has she got passed? She's done great, selling herself on Instagram, but what has she actually got done? Nothing. John Kiggins, what kind of progress is being made in East Tennessee hurricane coverage? it's I don't go out there. I mean, again, if you guys remember, that's 2 hours away from me. So, I mean, I'm not driving out there, uh, but just like what you see on the news, it's slow. And, the Biden administration did nothing to help Tennessee or North Carolina. Now things are starting to get there, but I mean, it's going to be a total different place than it was before October. Uh, Country Humans Network. What type of LED light do I recommend? I can't seem to find one at Menards. Also, lumens, kelvins, etc. I can't get fluorescent shop lights. Okay, I'm guessing you are talking about for grow lights. Go back and look at the video. I believe it's called Let There Be Light. If you go back and look in there, I give you all the details on the lumens, on the Kelvin that you need, and the link to LED lights that I've got that work. You can just go find that video, put in the search bar on YouTube, Pinball Preparedness just put in light, and it'll pull up anything that I talked about on light, and you'll see it. If I remember correctly, it's me sitting in the main prep room. I think that's what the thumbnail was. So sitting on the floor in there with those, that was what, 3-4 years ago I made that video. A Krista Cat. We had chemtrails this evening all over near the front. Wonder if they're making the storm worse or redirecting it. Yeah, I do not know. Frank Drabin. Hey, Pinball, gotta love the U.S. hockey team against Canada at the Four Nations tournament. They booed the national anthem 3 fights in the first 9 seconds. The U.S. did win 3-1. Yeah, that was kind of interesting. And then, of course, when Canada went to Boston to play against, I think it was Finland, uh, the American public booed the Canadian anthem like crazy, and the Canadians beat the Finns. And so now Thursday, the championship game is going to be between Canada and the US, and that's going to be another melee. So we'll see what happens. But uh, you know, it it's just childish to me. I mean, hockey fans are passionate. Don't get me wrong. Okay. And especially when you end up talking about national teams. I mean, hell, we all still talk about Miracle on Ice, and that's 45 years ago. But to boo another country's national anthem is, in my opinion, pretty despicable. You know, you can boo the players all you want, boo the team, but to boo a country's national anthem is that low class. That's all I'll say about that. LC, what are you starting as seedlings indoors the next few weeks? We're starting cabbage and broccoli seedlings next week. Yeah, I mean, right now the cabbage, the beets for me, it's supposed to be time for onions to go in the ground. I've got my onion sets all sitting here on the kitchen table that I haven't felt good enough. I haven't got my ground prepped for it yet. Those would go in, basically your brassicas. So, I mean, if you're growing Brussels sprouts or cauliflower or something like that, those are what you're planting right now. Ann Smith, a local Walgreens refused to fill a man's prescription for his blood pressure medicine because he had a Trump hat on. When called, their answer was sue us. Okay. Then the hell happened? Okay. All of a sudden, my computer just said, you know what? I got the snap thing on there. If that happened, I would be calling my state state capitol and reporting the uh, pharmacy. It's not sue us. It's no, we go after you legally for not a lawsuit. It's criminal charge. So uh, that that person needs to call the state and talk to their medical board. And gee, Walgreens, hey, guess what? You just lost your pharmacy license. Kathy Wade, any update on how Alaska Prepper's doing? No, I do not have any idea what's going on right there. Crochet, gotta love it. I made Mrs. P's fish soup tonight. It was so delicious. Never made something like this before. I could drink this down. Please tell Mrs. P thank you for making the recipe video. Yeah, it's you never think about some of the recipes that they make in other countries, but that fish soup is really good, and it's something that's, definitely a preppable type thing. It's canned mackerel, potatoes, carrots, onions. Uh, I mean, throw it in a pot, and I don't, not thinking the recipe off the top of my head. It's not like I'm the one that cooks it, but yeah, for a cold day to get something besides, oh my God, I can't drink another cup of chicken soup or something. Hey, there's an idea. Neighbor Bob, happy cold Tuesday. What are your thoughts on a family with 4 or 5 kids in school paying more school taxes than a senior citizen in the same district? Okay. This, because now you start to get into one of these, because property taxes pay the uh, school bills in most places, and whatever money that isn't stolen from the lotteries that they promised us was all going to the school. But I agree that then you get into school choice, okay? And this is the thing is, yeah, yeah, it's really tough because you start thinking about at the income levels of people. And I mean, there's plenty of people in the inner city that don't have, there's plenty of people in the country too, that don't have 2 nickels to rub together, at the end of the week. And to tell them, hey, you're going to have to pay, I'll make up a number, $100 a week to send your kid to school. They're like, screw it. Then the kid ain't going to school. Then that's a problem. And, we're already dumbing down our future by the crap education system we have. But I, unfortunately, I don't have an answer. I do agree on the fact of property taxes for senior citizens, that there should be some sort of act or whatever. Once you turn 62 or 65 or whatever it is, no more property taxes on the house. That I agree with. Okay, because at that point, people are living on whatever retirement income they have or Social Security. You don't need to be taxing them on top of everything else. That I agree with. But again, this goes into what I said before. I'm not a fan of property taxes, but you got to pay for the schools. You got to pay for the police department. You got to pay for the fire department. Money's got to come from somewhere. And not everybody in the country has the same income. Tom Hanks ain't worried about putting his grandkids in whatever school he wants. Okay. But, there's a whole lot, Hanks may have a whole big problem going, I ain't got 2 nickels to rub together at the end of the week. And we can't not educate the kids. I wish I had an answer on it. I mean, I don't. But I see both sides of it. Uh, Who's your daddy? Said, who's your mama? Has got a whole bunch of seedlings started. I'm so proud of her. Good for her. There you go. Let's see. Okay, people agreeing with what I was saying there. Vicky Savage, I follow 4 to 6 channels with cooking from Eastern Europe and the Mid East. The ways they put food by are especially important. I'm assuming that's put food away, are especially important, and the recipes are yummy. Yes. It's funny how so many of be very simple recipes. But I mean, if you think about it, Mrs. P and I have joked about this before, uh, is so many recipes around the world are the same thing, just with local ingredients. I mean, honestly, what's the difference between a hamburger and a taco or a burrito? It's ground beef, lettuce, tomatoes, onion, cheese in some sort of wrapping, whether it's bread made from wheat or whether it's bread made from corn. It's the same damn thing. I mean, I mean, it's silly when you stop and really think about it. It's like, okay, why do people that grow in live in northern climates eat a lot of cabbage or beets or stuff? Because it's a cold weather crop. It grows better there. You know why? Why is orange juice more expensive in Minnesota than it is in Florida? Because you don't grow oranges in Minnesota. Okay, uh, it's you start to learn when you learn about why different cultures eat what they do, then it makes there's a little bit more interest in it. I mean, why is Asian food got so heavily with rice and fish? Because that's what they have access to. And so sure, we grow a ton of rice in Arkansas. No offense to those of you guys in Arkansas, but catfish sushi doesn't sound that appetizing to me. Okay, but that would be about it. But okay, go to a Japanese restaurant and it's seafood and you know seaweed and sushi. So okay, it shot to the bottom again. So I'm trying to find where we were. Do. Dice Princess, New England clam chowder, or French onion soup. So yummy. I actually had a can of clam chowder this afternoon for lunch. So that was a can of chunky soup. I'm still eating soup. So KRFJR, yeah, homeschool. No, I agree with you on that. But again, I'm going to go right back to the same thing. Depending on how educated the parent is how far they can educate the kid. And y'all know as well as I do, there's some real dumb people in this country. And so telling them to homeschool, I got myself my fourth grade education. Okay, I want you to educate your kid. You're going, all right, that ain't going to happen. So we get that problem too. I I wish I had an answer, but it's so foobar that they keep putting band-aids on cancer. Space Girl, government funded online school. Okay, but and this is something that we've really got to fix in the country is the complete lack of social skills that Gen Z, some millennials have. I mean, we've joked about it before. You guys have seen it. You'll have your kids or your grandkids. They'll be sitting on the couch right next to each other, texting back and forth to each other because they can't do this. They don't, I mean, I spent way too many years recruiting people, and some of the interviews I had to do were absolutely pathetic because people couldn't talk. And I always loved the ones where people say, "Can you just email me the questions?" No, you're going to have to deal with people. You can't hide behind a computer. So, government funded online school that may be good for the educational thing, but the social skills that the kids need to learn, you can't get on Twitter or something. Carolyn Food Forest 355. Here in Florida, we have a huge break on property taxes after you turn 65, but you have to have property for a certain amount of time. Okay, I know I saw something last week about DeSantis talking about uh, even more breaks for taxes. I mean, and Ron DeSantis certainly has a future. I mean, obviously he can't be governor. He's going to term limit out. What he's going to do next, if he's going to run for president, who knows? But we'll see. Maybe run for Congress. I don't know. But wasn't he a senator before? Maybe he was. Maybe he wasn't. I'm not sure. All right. Hang on. Got to find where it was again. I see New Jersey Prepper said Angry Prepper's on right after me. Okay, so I didn't know if Jason was doing a video tonight or not, but yeah, he usually does Tuesdays at 9, but he had stopped for a while there. I mean, before this issue with his son. Sharon Keevlin, we need manufacturing back to the USA and build our own stuff. And I think that's what Trump is trying to do, and it's going to be a hard turnaround because it's real easy to, what happened back in the 70s, basically, when we let all the Japanese stuff and then eventually all the Chinese stuff come in, is, oh, look, the stuff's cheaper. Oh, look, the stuff's cheaper. And, people never have a problem paying less for something until they realize that they've got to replace it 6 times. I mean, some of us are old enough. Some of us can remember parents or whatever it is. But you start thinking about, let's just say the furniture that your parents had. That was all made of solid wood, right? In the USA. Stuff we get now, it's all made of particle board. It's all crap. You look at dishes and things like that, the old Corningware and stuff like that, still working great. It was made in the 60s, stuff you get now. Oh, gee, you put it in the dishwasher, it broke. Look at appliances. I mean, I get a kick out of it. You see this all the time. Go spend $2,000 on a refrigerator. It might last you 5 years. When I went to meet Mrs. P in Russia, she had her refrigerator, Russian-made refrigerator from the 1950s that still worked perfectly fine. The older stuff was quality, and I mean that's we're going to have a change of our mindset. Go, oh my God, that's expensive, but then you're going to stop and go, but I'm never going to have to buy another one. Oh, okay, that might not be a bad idea. Now, of course, you'll get the people that, well, I want to change my kitchen, or I mean, I remember the colors, the kitchen colors of the 70s. You had harvest gold, avocado green, and I forget what the orange color was. And my folks had a refrigerator and they wanted to change the color, so they got somebody in, they painted the refrigerator into the new color or whatever it was, and that was it. Okay, they could remodel the kitchen. Now, I'll just throw it out and go buy a new one, because it's not going to last more than a few years. Dressmaker Kathy, lots of chemtrails in Tennessee, which are banned. True. Talked to our state rep, and they said they're discussing who owns the sky. There's an idiot for a congressman. They're not spraying. Whatever they're spraying comes down. So wherever it lands, that's who owns it. Technically, if you want, you own the. I think it's like up to 100 feet or something like that from your property line. 100 feet up or something. I think that's somewhere around there is what most people technically own, where you can build a house that high or put an antenna up or whatever, something like that. I know they're going, well, this is at 30,000 feet. Yeah, well, when they're dropping stuff out of a plane that lands in my yard, okay, now they're on my property. Uh, do, 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 do. Yeah. Romy Davis, don't pick on my tacos. I live in South Texas. It's a staple food here. I'm not picking on your tacos. I'm just saying it's a hamburger, just in a different one. That's all it is. And your ketchup's spicier. That's it. Vicky Savage, the most impactful parts of cooking are treatment of simple, available ingredients, seasoning, and ingenuity. Yeah, I mean, you stop and think when you're cooking. Sometime you're following some recipe and go, "How in the world did somebody come up with this recipe?" And I'll tell you exactly what happened. It's like that's what they happen to have in the house, in the cabin, in the tent, in the cave, and put it all together and said, "Hey, you know what? This is actually pretty good." And so they made it over and over and over again. I mean, you think about how did somebody come up with the idea to mix this and this? Because it's all they had. And they were trying to make a meal out of something. Uh Robert Bates, canned clam chowder. Yes. Sorry. Not like we get a whole lot of fresh clams here in Tennessee. And I'm making it myself. It was at least something. Okay, we just shot to the bottom again. Country Humans Network. Japanese cars are better than Detroit. Toyota and Honda last and Chrysler fail. I'm not going to disagree with you about a Chrysler. I'll never own another one when I had to put two transmissions in a truck before 150,000 miles. That was the last Dodge I'd ever own. I have owned 3 Fords since then, and I've driven them basically till they're done. So yeah, if you get a quarter million miles out of a truck, I'm good. Let's see. Lynn Boyette. In Louisiana, we have a homestead exemption. Also, at 65, you can lock in whatever it is current for the rest of your life at the property. I'm locked in and exempt, paying just fire department tax, $75 a year. That would help. I mean, my property taxes aren't bad. I mean, was it $1,316 for the year? I'm not going to complain. Compared to somebody like New Hampshire or something like that, where that's what you're paying a month. I'm not going to complain. But you know, when as you start getting older, and it's like, wait a minute, where's that money coming from? And $1,300 still, a little better than $100 a month. Uh, Romy Davis had my grandmother's cast iron skillet. Yeah, I mean, there. And again, you can buy American-made products now. I mean, I've got sets of Lodge cast iron. I mean, that stuff's not going to go anywhere. I mean, it's made in the USA. It's solid quality. It's not, where there's this tiny little aluminum screw that holds everything together. And, it's like, oh, I washed it 3 times. And what do you know? The handle broke off of it. Thanks, Martha Stewart, for your $200 set of pots and pans, made in China. Man, they are doing something about shooting this thing at the bottom today. Okay, going on again. Mountain Woodsy, whatever happened to the drones? Good question. Haven't heard anything about them. There was one blurb maybe about 2 weeks ago about something on them, and then didn't hear anything again. You know, hmm. Yvonne Berger, thanks. I hope you get over your illness and Mrs. P starts feeling better soon. Yes, me too, because I got to go to Nashville this weekend because it's the state bowling tournament this weekend. So yeah, I will be in Nashville for the weekend. She's planning on going with me, but she said last night, she goes, if I feel like crap, that she's not going. So I may be going myself. I should be okay to go myself. I mean, I can go myself, but I'll feel fine, good enough to get through everything here. Vicky Savage, ancient Chinese saying, anything that walks, swims, crawls, or flies with its back to heaven can be made fit to eat. They are experienced in famine. True, say that, but yeah, people can do that too. I'm not a cannibal, so that but yeah, I get the point. Let's see. We are near the end. Robert, live from the state bowling championship. I could no. What do I get? We do the team bowling 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. Then I do that's a 5-man team. And we do our 2-man team at 8 o'clock on Sunday morning, and I do my singles at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, and then I drive home. So that'll be that. Uh what are we two? Is that it? No more questions? All right. Well, if that's it for questions, guys, we'll call it a couple of minutes early. Let everybody go run to the bathroom or grab a soda or something like that, and head on over to see Jason over at Angry Prepper. But thank you all for bearing with me these last few weeks while I felt like crap. I do appreciate it. So, y'all have a good evening, and we will see you in the morning. God knows what's going to happen tonight. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Take care, y'all. All out.